You guys, this is the reason why I never wore big dresses to school. Let me set the scene for you. 4th grade Joe, 9 years old, super perky and happy to be wearing a giant dress to school. You know, I don't know why I was. Maybe we had just gotten it. I was super excited about it. It was like a Wednesday. I was probably like, Mom, I want to wear this dress. And since I was mainly tomboyish my entire life, she was probably like, yes, wear it. So I took it to school. It made playtime a little complicated, but that's fine. Recess was fine. I was one of those kids who liked to roll around in the dirt, climb trees, all that jazz. And I'm like, it's just a dress. It'll be fine. So it's time for, like, nutrition class. I don't know. They're trying to teach us about, like, pyramids and, like, food groups. My teacher starts looking at me funny. And then she kind of just says to the entire class, Josadak? And I'm like, Josadak, can you come with me outside for a second? I'm like, yeah, sure. 4th grade me just comes with her outside. And when we're outside, she closes the door. And I'm like, huh. She slowly takes off her shoe. I was like, oh, look for part 2. Okay, part 2. I honestly didn't expect to make 2 parts out of this. So my teacher was looking at me like so intensely while she was taking off her shoe. And I was so confused. Miss whatever your name is, because I don't remember. What are you doing? And she goes, don't move. And I start panicking. But I do what she says. Like, she gets her shoe. She holds it up to here. And then she throws it at me. And I literally jumped. She hit me in the bottom half of my dress. The shoe went flying. You know what else went flying? Right next to her shoe was the giantest spider I have ever seen in my life. I think it was a tarantula, which would have been fine because tarantulas are pretty much harmless. But at the time, both her and I were freaking out. She literally knocked the spider out. Her aim was so good. I'm actually amazed right now. She's like, oh my god, I saw that on your dress when you came in and I had to get it off. I was like, thank you. Yeah, I had no idea that was on there. So I retired that dress. No more dresses to school. Not for Joe. Thanks for watching. Just Emma.
Story time! So yesterday my friends and I all went to the fair and there were 6 of us in total. And none of us wanted to have to worry about driving there and parking, so we just Ubered instead. So we left the fair around 11:15 and we walked to a nearby shopping center where the Uber picked us up about 10 minutes late. We ended up leaving at 11:30. We get in the Uber, the man says hello, and we head home the normal way. Everything's fine. And my parents don't like when I Uber, so they were tracking me on Life 360 from the moment I got in the car. After about 10 minutes in, I get a text from my mom, and it said, where are you? I look up from my phone, and I realize I have no idea where we are, and Ubers know their directions, they know how to take you home. We were 20 minutes out of the way. So I'm terrified. My mom's texting me nonstop, literally about to call the police. I'm gonna run out of time, but posting part 2 today. Okay, back to the Uber story. Our parents are freaking out, we're texting each other in our group chat so he doesn't hear us. Also, while this is all happening, he wasn't talking to us, but he had an earbud in, and he was talking to someone on the phone really quietly. It was super creepy. My mom starts calling me again, and he hears the ring. And one of my friends pulled up on her phone the directions to get home, which he also heard, so he knew that we thought something was off. After a little while longer, we finally know where we are, so we feel a little bit better. We were getting really close to the turn that goes into my friend's neighborhood, and we were thinking, if he doesn't make this turn, we're screwed. Thank goodness he makes the turn, and we're back at my friend's house. But the scary thing is what if he was planning something, but since our phones were ringing and we had the GPS up, that he changed his mind? Because we were not going home. I still can't stop thinking about it. This is the one time Life 360 has come in handy. We're all safe now.
Obviously, none of you know this, but I've been homeless for quite some time now, and I've been staying with random people. It's been extremely detrimental to my mental health, as you can guess.
But anyways, I was bumming around downtown, you know, rich people territory, bumming around downtown with my friend Sarah, and I stumbled across a piano outside of one of the fanciest restaurants there, and I was like, yo, I love playing piano. So we popped in and asked if I could play it, and they were all like, sure. And so I sat down in the seat, started playing, and then a few minutes later, a guy starts videoing me. Then he goes back into the restaurant, and I was like, well, okay, whatever. A little bit later, another guy comes out, sits right next to the piano, so I was like, okay, maybe they want us to leave. So I got up to leave, and the guy was like, do you want some breakfast? And me and Sarah were like, we are just way too poor to be here, so no, thank you. And he was like, no, I own the restaurant, and I want to give you breakfast. And we were like, okay. I sit down, and he offers me a job to play piano outside of the fanciest restaurant in downtown 3 times a week.
I'm gonna tell you guys the story of how I was kicked out of my Spanish class on the first week of school. Okay, so, I don't know if all schools do this, but in my school you had to take a foreign language class to graduate, and me, being the fluent Spanish speaker that I already am, decided to take Spanish. Not because it was easy, although that was part of it. I was already taking AP, ACE, and honors in all of my other classes. So I honestly just wanted a super easy class that I didn't have to think about. You know, no stress. and I could get that requirement out of the way. So picture this. It's the first day of school. I walk into class. Fate would have it that my very best friend from 8th grade was also in this class. When I saw her, we immediately started freaking out. Shout out to Emery. And she was so happy that I was going to be helping with her Spanish work and everything else. My Spanish teacher wasn't too happy about that. In fact, she asked me and 2 other girls who looked like me what we were doing there. And I honestly didn't know how to answer. I was kind of like, class, Spanish requirement, class. She said this would be way too easy for me. And you know what? She was right. Imagine trying to learn hello and how are you in a language you already know. But that was the point. You know? I came in on Friday again, the first week of school, and she had a surprise for us. Look, this is part 2 on how I was kicked out of my Spanish class. And it was only the first week of school. So it was Friday, and I walked in. I expected to hang out with my friend and learn how to say bien y tú. But instead, my teacher took me and 2 other students, separated us from the rest of the class, and made us take a Spanish 2 final exam. It was the first week of school! How dare she? My friend was like, oh my god, please fail it, please fail it, please fail it. The point of the test, I guess, was to prove that we knew Spanish and we didn't belong in our class. But I'm an overachiever! Guys, I don't fail tests. Do you remember the part about me taking AP, ACE, and honors classes? I don't take those classes because I failed tests. I took the test. It wasn't my best work. I definitely could have done better, but I ended up with a B. My teacher was like, just as I suspected. She handed me a hall pass and said, go to the guidance counselor. You need to switch out of this class. And I was like, ah! As I grabbed my backpack and slowly walked away as everybody else worked on their hellos, I got to look at my friend and kindly wave. Then I went down to the guidance counselor, who said practically every other class was full. They ended up having to put me in culinary, specifically for sophomore. I was a freshman, the youngest person in that class.
It's okay that you booked a plane ticket home to surprise your mom for Mother's Day, but as your friend was driving you to the airport, you realized you had already missed your flight, so you spent $200 to rebook the flight for the next morning. It's okay that your kind boyfriend rearranged his Mother's Day plans to drive you to the airport at 6 a.m., but your alarm doesn't go off, so your boyfriend called and texted you, then broke into your building and banged on the door until you finally wake up 45 minutes before your departure time. It's okay that you sprinted through the empty airport and miraculously caught your flight, but during your layover you sat at your gate watching TikTok and didn't hear that your flight was boarding and didn't notice until they closed the door and the plane had left the gate, so you begged an employee who turned the flight around and you ran out on the tarmac and got on the flight and finally arrived home, only to surprise your mom, who yells at you for not warning her that you were coming home and refuses to hug you because of coronavirus.